How's it going, guys? Welcome to Out of Bounds, the Friday edition here. By the time you see this, the NFL will have already kicked off. Patriots, Steelers, but I have to film the day before, so there will be no recap of the first game of the season. It pains me. But Monday we'll recap what happens in the NFL. I'm so excited that it's here. Like, football is here. I'm ready for pumpkin beers. I'm ready for just hot dogs and chili and nachos. Where I live, where this palace studio is, it's about 85, 90 degrees. So it's not fall by any means. But it feels like it should be. It feels like I should be wearing a sweater to work. It feels like it should be 60 degrees. I love it. Today we're going to do something I said we were going to do a long time ago, but better late than never, right? I'm going to preview the entire NFL, as only I can. I'm going to give you a division winner, every division. I'm going to give you the AFC NFC Championship. I'm going to give you the Super Bowl champion. And I'm going to give you 10 bold predictions from my mind right here. Asterisk, I'm not good at bold predictions. So they're really bold. Probably not going to happen. But hey, I got to give you something. We're also going to talk very briefly about some college matchups, because we talked a lot of college on Skrmetta and Gunk this week. If you haven't seen it, please go to my website, check it out. Also, good news. Last bit of house cleaning. iTunes has sent me an email. They've accepted the podcast. So the podcast version of this, which is already available on my website and audiomac.com, will be available on iTunes, searchable in the iTunes store by, I'm saying, Monday. I got the email yesterday, Wednesday, and it says that it should take about 2 days. So Monday we should be sailing. So that'll be searchable on iTunes, so you can download it on, just on your phone, on your computer, listen to it in the car, do whatever you got to do. And until then, check the website, check AudioMac. That's where everything is. The website's the easiest place to go because everything is there. That's why I created a website, was to house everything. But iTunes, Steve Jobs will be raking in the dough from the dead, from Shaboy. Let's jump into this thing. Let's do it. All right. The NFL lacks a lot of parity. As it's not built like that, because a lot of people don't know this, but the way that you finish affects your schedule. So if you struggle, you're going to get an easier schedule. Theoretically, that's how it's supposed to work, because the NFL does not want the same teams in the playoffs every year. They don't want the same teams winning the divisions and going to the Super Bowls. They don't want that. They like dynasties. They like great players doing great things on a consistent basis. But they don't want what's going on in like Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. They don't want teams to just sit bad. That's why the schedules are different. That's why you don't play the same teams every year. With that being said, the way the NFL has been the past, probably since Tom Brady and Peyton Manning started playing, there hasn't been that much difference every year. You can pretty much pick who's going to win the division by who has the best quarterback. Because whenever Tom Brady and Peyton Manning got in the league, that was also the same time the game shifted from power running backs to quarterbacks. Because back, let's just go back 10 years ago. And it's really before that. But 10 years ago, you had, Shaun Alexander, Priest Holmes, Terrell Davis. These were the players that could elevate your team, right? You get a Ricky Williams, you got a shot. You get a big time play. Ricky Williams' quarterback was Jay Fiedler. All you needed was a running back. And if you had a great running back, your team had a real shot at the playoffs. Games were a lot slower. Over-unders were a lot slower or lower. And then it all changed. Then the fans said, no, we want passing. We want passing, and we want touchdowns, and we want big plays, and we want... imagine the Red Zone channel if the game was how it was when it was running the football. It'd be miserable. You'd see some guy stand there, and some guy talk to you for a little bit, and then every 20, 30 minutes you see Priest Holmes just kind of running in. So, once it went to the quarterback, you had to have a quarterback to win. And quarterbacks don't come every day. So the same teams usually make the playoffs. And that's kind of how it is this year, too. I was doing my thing, and I was like, man, I'm writing down chalk. I'm writing down just what the same stuff everyone else is writing. And then I was like, well, I mean, who else are you going to pick? So I actually went kind of on a limb, and I'm not going to lie, I went against what I really thought, but I'm going to stick with it. This isn't just for show. This is my official predictions for the NFL. Now, we're going to do the divisions. We'll start with the AFC. In the AFC East, the New England Patriots are going to win the division. And they'll probably win the division every year Tom Brady plays. Let's not lie to each other. He's just that good. So the fact that he has no suspension, all that stuff, I don't care who they lost on the defense, Patriots are going to win the AFC East. I got the Dolphins coming in second. I think that team's going to be good. Not because Tannehill is having like a resurgent year or whatever, or a breakout year. It's because the defense is going to be phenomenal. And Ndamukong Suh is that damn good. He got a 60. I think he's the highest paid player in the league, and he deserves to be. He's unstoppable. He was unstoppable at Nebraska. He's unstoppable at Miami, and he's going to be a freak of nature, an absolute freak. I got the Bills in third, Jets in fourth. Bills have a lot of pieces, but for some reason they have a bunch of offensive pieces, and Rex Ryan is not an offensive guy. They're moving in the right direction, but they're still a little while off, and the Jets are a mess. The Jets are an absolute disaster. AFC North. This is a tough division. This is a tough division because the teams are all the same. Gritty, tough-nosed teams with good quarterbacks, composed quarterbacks with experience and resumes, except for one team. I got the Ravens winning it. I love the Steelers' offense this year, but their defense is terrible. And when did you think you would say that about Pittsburgh? Because I didn't think I'd ever say that about Pittsburgh. Coming completely clean here, I have the way this desk is set up is there's a post that goes down here, a post that goes down here, and a post that goes down here by the sailor. And I was just moving, I was just kind of twirling. I kicked the post down here. I honestly think I broke my toe. And it happened right in the middle of the AFC East thing. And I don't even remember what I said about the Steelers because I think I'm blacking in and out from the pain. I don't want to look down at my toe because it might be in 100 different pieces. So I'm going to press on with the show. But this is the second consecutive show where I've had to be like Jordan in the flu game. Last show is coming off of a 48-hour bender up in Hattiesburg for the opening week of college football. And now I've got basically 1 foot. I have chiclets of my toe is just probably out on the floor. Bone spur. I mean, this is a surgically. I need to go to the ER. But I'm going to finish the show. Back to what I was saying. I got the Ravens winning it because I think they're the total team. They're the better total team. Steelers are an incredible offense. I really do like that offense, but their defense is just so porous. So porous. Their secondary especially. When Senquez Golson gets there, because I think he's hurt, they'll get better. But they only have a few more years left with Ben, and they better not waste it. Because you don't have that good of an offense, and you don't give them any kind of defense. I mean, do something up there, Mr. Tomlin. Third's the Bengals. Not an Andy Dalton guy. I know some of my listeners are. Some of my commenters have said they're from Cincinnati. You're not going to win. You're not going to win the Super Bowl with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton will get you 9 wins. No problem. He'll get you 10 wins. But he's not going to win you the Super Bowl. He's not going to win you the AFC. He's got arguably the best receiver in football, and he's just not good enough to do it. They need to address that. I think they will soon. Browns are in fourth. I like the Browns. I like Austin Davis. But until he's starting, he can't help the team. AFC South, worst division of football, which is weird because of what I'll say later. But you have the Colts here, and then you have the Texans, Jaguars, and Titans in that order. That's an awful division. That's why the Colts are so good, so many wins, because they get to play those chumps, twice a year. And then in the West, what an interesting division the AFC West is. Very interesting to say the least. I have the Chargers winning it. The Broncos are done. Broncos went all in for those 2 years and didn't work. Peyton, my man can't feel his fingers. All right, someone call the weekend. Then I got the Chiefs coming in third, but I almost put the Raiders in third because I love Derek Carr and I love Amari Cooper. absolutely love them. They're not ready yet, but they will be. They will win. They will start to win the AFC West on the regular. Let's switch over to the NFC, shall we? The NFC is kind of a weird conference because it's a bunch of top-heavy teams. Like every division has a clear-cut winner, and then the rest of the teams are pretty bad. The NFC East, great example. The Eagles are the obvious clear-cut favorite. Giants and Skins are awful. The Redskins are terrible. So I'll say the Eagles are going to win that division. Cowboys are coming second. A lot of that hinges on Sam Bradford. But even if he goes down, you have to go to Mark Sanchez. I think Mark Sanchez is good enough to win that division. I think Mark Sanchez sneakily could be a really good pro, especially in Chip Kelly's offense. And part of me wishes he could get more of a chance. I think they did him dirty in New York. You don't go to 2 consecutive AFC Championship games and get kicked out of the city because you ran into your lineman's butt. You know what I mean? Then we got the NFC North. Packers, clear-cut favorite. Lions and Bears, not good. Lions are average. Bears are terrible. Minnesota's on the uptick. I got them getting second. Maybe clinching a wild card. Maybe getting a wild card berth. Really depends on Adrian Peterson. Bridgewater's good. I think he's fine. He's not going to develop it. Some people are expecting him to be like a star. Some people are expecting him to be like an MVP candidate. He's not that. I mean, he wasn't even really that in college, and he was dynamic. But you take away the legs in the NFL, you take away that kind of aspect, and he's just kind of a smart passer. You know, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a franchise player, but he's the guy you need to make Minnesota a little bit better. He's a lot better than Christian Ponder, I'll tell you that. NFC South, I got the Saints winning the division. I also think I did a Saints preview. I think they can win 9-10 games. I really do. I think they can because they play Washington, play Jacksonville, they play Tennessee, they play Tampa Bay and Carolina twice each. That's an easy schedule. They got some tough games, but if they can cut down on the home losses, if they can move the home losses from 5 last year to 2 to 3 this year, I mean they were 7-9 last year, and they lost 5 games at home. So if you take just 2 of those, that's a 9-win season. And I think that's easily doable. I think Drew Brees is much more healthy this year. I don't know if he's 100% because he's out wrestling crocodiles with Bear Grylls. But if he's close to 100%, then they can definitely win 9-10 games with that schedule. They're not a real threat, I don't think, to the Super Bowl. Because, you win 10-11 games, you would think that team's pretty good. I'm not ready to say they're a real threat, but they could surprise some people. And if they can win a few at home that they didn't win last year, that could be a double-digit win team in a bad NFC South because the Panthers are so bad. They could be the number 1 pick, and the Bucs aren't good either. NFC West, I got the Seahawks in first, but it's not as clear-cut as you would think because I love Bruce Arians. And I love the Arizona Cardinals. Bruce Arians was like Chris Angel last year. He was doing magic and illusions. My man had Ryan Lindley and was taking people to the limit. He had a quarterback who couldn't throw. You talk about limited. You talk about limited and what you can do. Ryan Lindley could not complete passes. How he was on NFL, no one. Remember when Curtis Painter, when Peyton left Indianapolis or he was injured, and Curtis Painter took over, and they went, whatever it was, 1-15, and everybody was like, how the hell is Curtis Painter on a roster? That's because you don't know about these backups. You don't know what they can do until they have to do it. And man, Ryan Lindley got straight up Curtis Paintered. He was running out there being like 6 for 19 for 44 yards. I mean, the easiest thing you could ever do is take the under on Ryan Lindley prop bets on passing yards and completions, and the fact that they made the playoffs and were in games, they would have beat Carolina in the playoffs if it wasn't for Ryan Lindley. If they would have had anyone else. And now Carson Palmer's back. They got wide receivers galore. They got a few running backs out there. Bruce Arians can make magic, son. And then the Rams in third, 49ers. 49ers look like a team like Wile E. Coyote put a string on, walked the string out, and then just pushed down the Acme box, and it blew it up. I've talked about their offseason. Worst offseason of all time. It ain't close. Patrick Willis retired. My man retired. He just said, nah. It's not like he got hurt. He quit football forever. I mean, I don't know his age off the top of my head, but he's probably not that old. I'd be surprised if he was probably, I'd say maybe 30. So that's crazy. All right, so here we go. That was my division winners, right? The AFC Championship game. I've got the Colts versus the Patriots. Patriots lost a lot defensively. They lost, Darrelle Revis, Browner. They lost a lot of people. But they're going to be playing like a team possessed all year long. Tom Brady, he might throw for... This is going to be like the year he had Randy Moss. He's just going to throw like 50 touchdowns. He's going to run the score up every game. Belichick's going to run it up every game. That team, the Patriots, man, it must feel so good to be a fan in Boston. All around. Because their teams just live in a tree. I mean, their teams just... They never lose. And I know it didn't used to be like that. They're in one of these little swings. But I mean, because the Red Sox are awful. But the Patriots just are so... Tom Brady, when it's all said and done, he's going to be the best quarterback to ever live. And it's not going to be close. He's so far ahead of Peyton Manning in my book. I could do a whole show. I could do a whole week of shows on Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady and how Brady has separated himself so much. And they're not even in the same conversation. Manning, to me, has removed himself from like that top 5 talk. And Brady is in like the top 2 talk. I mean, he's light years ahead. But Andrew Luck's the new Tom Brady. He's never going to be bad. He's never going to have a year where it's like, what happened to Andrew Luck? Ah, man, he was battling some demons. He was hurt. Ah, man, his hamstring. He's a savant. When you watch him, because he doesn't look like a quarterback. He kind of looks like a slow running back. He's kind of bulkier. He's got that beard. He doesn't really have the best motion. Like when you watch him throw, he kind of has a weird motion. And he's stocky. Like but he's an incredible athlete. He's like Mike Trout. Like Mike Trout doesn't understand the athlete that he is. Andrew Luck doesn't understand the athlete that he is. I saw an interview where they asked Andrew Luck, like, what's the first big purchase you made? And he said a professional ping pong table. Now imagine this cat just watching film all day and then just banging the ping pong ball up against because he's not inviting friends over. So he's got the table turned up to where he's just like Forrest Gump, just smacking it against the wall, just return and serve all day. That's what he does all day. He might do that while watching film. But Andrew Luck and that Colt, they're all in this year. And Andre Johnson, Frank Gore, they're getting Andrew Luck some pieces because he's been taking bad Colt teams pretty far. And I think I'm pretty confident in saying they'll be in the AFC Championship game because they've been there. It's not a huge step for them. And Chubb Pagano's a good coach. He's got them believing in themselves. He's got them where they want to be. I like the Colts this year. Colts, Patriots, AFC Championship game. NFC Championship game. I had some trouble with this one because the NFC is not very good. It's very top heavy. I didn't want to just pick chalk, and I would pick the Packers to win it all. I didn't. Spoiler alert. But losing Jordy Nelson, you can't lose. Jordy Nelson to me is a top 10 player at his position. You can't lose a top 10 player at a position that affects your best player and just mosey on to the Super Bowl. The Packers should have beat the Seahawks last year in the playoffs. And if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, they would have. So I know they have the piece. I know they have the talent. But now losing Jordy Nelson, that's another big blow. Like, will Randall Cobb be able to do him? I mean, the best quarterback in football's weapon being lost, that's not good. It's like taking Carrot Top's props away. Is he still going to be funny? I have no idea. We'll have to see what happens. He's a very high-paid comedian, but without his props, what is he? He's lost. So I've got the Packers in the NFC Championship game, and I have the Eagles, and I hate this pick because everyone's picking them, right? Everyone's like, oh, the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. Literally, everyone I've seen has picked the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Everybody. I couldn't believe it. I have them up there because I don't want to pick the Seahawks because I don't want to pick Colts, Pats, Packers, Seahawks. This could just say 2014 on it. I think the Seahawks are going to go back to earth a little bit. And if Chip Kelly's offense works, and it's the same thing every year, but I think this year might be the last year people are saying that. If his offense works, he's got now his machine. He's built his machine. He's removed everyone else. So this is the year. It's like if Chip Kelly goes 9-7, get him back in college. If he goes even 10-6 and misses the playoffs, or 10-6 and loses in the first round, see ya. Get him back in college. He's got to win. I mean, he's got to win now because he's changed the entire franchise. You know what I mean? And I'm not ready to put them in the Super Bowl because Sam Bradford's their quarterback. It's not like they're being backed by Aaron Rodgers. You got Sam Bradford. Number one, he can't stay healthy. Number two, he's just kind of an average quarterback. Even if he stays healthy, it's like, how good can he be? You know, I mean, we've seen glimpses, but we also saw glimpses of Josh McCown. We also saw glimpses of Brian Hoyer. You know, just because somebody can be good in a moment, in a bubble, doesn't mean they're good for a Super Bowl stretch. I mean, imagine if the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl, he's going to have to beat Green Bay, Seattle, and I mean, Aaron Rodgers versus Sam Bradford, Russell Wilson versus Sam Bradford. I'm not feeling too good. So I have them, but I do have them in my championship game because I'm giving Chip the benefit of the doubt. And I think it can all work. Worst case is that Bradford's just not very good. You know, like him getting hurt, you can't foresee that. And you have Mark Sanchez, so you know you have something that you can rely on. But if Bradford's just not very good, and then you're kind of you don't have a quarterback, and that's where the issue could be. But Chip's got his pieces, so we shall see. I've got the Colts beating the Patriots. I think it'll be a score fest. But the Patriots' defense, them losing those players, I think is enough to get Andrew Luck and his team, which is a little bit more loaded than it was last year, over that hump. Now, Tom Brady might do the same thing to Andrew Luck they did to Peyton Manning and just be in his dome. Just be one of those guys that Colts play the Patriots, mark the Patriots in because they're beating them by 40. But I'm going to take Andrew Luck. I'm going to say he gets another step on the ladder. NFC side, I'm going the Packers. Reason I just explained. I just can't have Sam Bradford doing all that for me. You know, it's kind of like the same thing I had with Joe Flacco. When Joe Flacco and the Ravens won the Super Bowl, he beat Tom Brady and Peyton Manning on the road in consecutive weeks. I was stunned because I didn't think he could do it. So if Bradford proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. You know, that's the business I've chosen, is telling you my opinion, and then we'll see how it plays out. Colts Packers Super Bowl. Colts winning it all. That Jordy Nelson, it's hard to say it's going to hurt them in the Super Bowl. Like, oh, it really hurt them, but they made it to the Super Bowl. But it is. It's going to hurt them. The Packers are going to get through a weak NFC. They're going to run up to a Colts team where they got to score a lot, and I think the weapons, Aaron Rodgers not having his full ammunition is going to hurt them. I'm picking the Indianapolis Colts as my Super Bowl champion. And I think if I'm wrong, we'll get close. If I'm wrong, we'll at least be in that AFC title realm. And I can live with that. Okay, before I get to my 10 bold predictions, we're going to do a super quick MLS Minute. There was only 2 games on Wednesday, and one of them was scoreless. So, it's going to take a very short time. But, we got to play the music, though. You know that as well as I do. Producer, music, the MLS Minute, presented to you by me. Wednesday night, saw Vancouver play Colorado. The only 2 goals of the night. And the only game that I didn't watch. I chose to watch the other one. Vancouver beat the Rapids 2-0, moving them back to the top of the Supporters' Shield standings. Octavio Rivero broke the 0-0 tie in the 73rd minute and added a score 4 minutes later. 2-0 Vancouver. Colorado, I was talking noise about them. They started winning. Now they're back to doing Colorado things. Somebody find me Joe Sakic. The next game is the game that I watched because I thought it was going to be really entertaining, and I was super wrong. Portland and Sporting Kansas City played to a yawn-stipating 0-0 draw. But the tie leaves both sides at 41 points. They're right above that red line. They are jockeying. It's not a good chance that both's going to make the playoffs. I think Sporting Kansas City's a better team, but they're kind of battling some injuries. They got hot, and now they're struggling. Good news, Kansas City fans. The not loss snaps a 3-game losing streak. So maybe you can build on this. Maybe you can move up a little bit. I will highlight a game, though, before I jump into these 10 predictions because we're on decent time. I'll say Saturday night, 9:30 Central, the Los Angeles Galaxy play Montreal. You got Steven Gerrard, you got Giovanni Dos Santos, Robbie Keane going up against Didier Drogba, coming off of a hat trick. Drogba's coming off of a hat trick, so he's hot. The Impact are feeling it. That is your MLS Minute. Watch some MLS this weekend, please. If you don't, you know where you can find highlights and scores Monday here on Out of Bounds. That has been your MLS Minute. That was efficient. That's what we call that in the business. That was absolutely efficient. Now, 10 bold predictions to round out the show. I was going to briefly talk about college football, but it's Michigan State, Oregon play. That's really the only game, so I'm not going to highlight that. I think we talked about it on Skrmetta and Gunk, so if you want to, go back and check it out. Now, the 10 in no order, so it's not like one's more confident than the other. 10 bold predictions. First one, Adrian Peterson is going to wreck shop this year. People are like, he got a big break, he hadn't played in a year. Yeah, I know, fam, he's a running back. Nothing's better than a break. A year, his legs are so fresh, he might as well be 23. I'm not saying he's going to play for another 10 years. But this year, coming off of a full year of rest, remember whenever he left, the Vikings were terrible. Now he's got Teddy Bridgewater. He's got Mike Wallace is on the team. He's got a little bit more there. So Bridgewater, having Adrian Peterson there is going to be so great for both sides. They can't just put 50 in the box like they did against Christian Ponder. They have to respect Bridgewater. And that team is not going to be a bad team. Adrian Peterson, my prediction is that he's going to be close to 2,000 yards. I know. Somewhere around that 1,600 to 1,800 range. He's going to destroy. And then he doesn't have to play in Ndamukong Suh. He doesn't have to face that Lions front twice a year anymore. The Bears' defense is suspect at best. So I think he's going to be a war machine up in the soda. Up in Nick Swartzenville. Second one, Derek Carr and Amari Cooper will turn Oakland around. Maybe not this year. Whenever he was drafted, this is a fact. Whenever he was drafted, I said Derek Carr would be a top 5 quarterback within his career. That's kind of a top 5 in like this season, not all time. He reminds me a lot of Aaron Rodgers. He is so good. I love Derek Carr. I loved him coming out of college. And Amari Cooper is a stud. I also went on record and said that last year, instead of taking Winston, Tampa Bay should have took Amari Cooper. Because Winston's not a sure thing. Amari Cooper's a sure thing. He was the only person on Alabama, and he would still get 16 targets, 11 receptions against the SEC defenses. So I think with those two, you could see this is a stretch, but you could see a Joe Montana, Jerry Rice type thing going on. They could win a lot of games out there. They could be one of those tandems, one of those Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning tandems that you hear for a long time. Number 3, Odell Beckham will struggle. He'll struggle because Victor Cruz is back, taking catches away, and he'll also struggle because defenses know. Like they had a full year to prepare. A lot of what Odell Beckham, a lot of his thing is these crazy catches, these one-handed catches, these spinning around catches. That doesn't really get it going for me. I need production. I need numbers. I know he's got those too, but a lot of his hype is behind the one-handed catches and all that, the flukier stuff, and that's not what makes a player to me. He's going to be going against number 1 guys every single week. They're going to be training for him all week. It's going to be, hey, let's stop Odell Beckham. Let's stop Odell Beckham. And it's not I'm not saying he's bad. He's just going to take a step back. Number 4, Robert Griffin will never start again for Washington. I almost put never take a snap again, but he'll definitely never start again. His time is done. I'd be surprised if he finished the year with Washington. I'd be really surprised if he was on Washington next year. Number 5, this one's a bold, son. Jadeveon Clowney will lead the league in sacks. This is why. Because that defensive line is so good, and they don't have a choice but to just hope that Jadeveon Clowney will get handled. J.J. Watt's going to demand double teams. He's going to demand an extra blocker. He's going to demand a running back. Vince Wilfork in the middle is enough to be like, man, we can't just load all of our stuff on J.J. Watt. We can't just load all of our stuff over there. We have Vince Wilfork right here. Then you got Jadeveon Clowney, who you would think is 100% healthy, coming off the other side. There's not enough linemen. And in the pass-happy league that we're in, and especially in their league, you got rookie quarterbacks like Blake Bortles. You've got rookie quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota, who also likes to run around. You could see Jadeveon Clowney really have some sacks around that 20 number. I mean, we're talking about a guy, if he's as good as he was hyped to be, which I think he can be, with J.J. Watt demanding so much pressure, demanding so much blocking, Jadeveon Clowney could have an explosive year and get seriously paid, Mario Williams style paid, whenever it's time to do that. Number 6, the Seahawks. I touched on it earlier. The Seahawks will come back down to earth, and it's because of Russell Wilson. He got paid. That causes a little bit of problems in locker rooms. But he's also been in the media a lot. Like, he's talked about a lot of stuff, his concussion, water or whatever, dating Sierra. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I don't think he's got the locker room like the media wants you to think he does. Marshawn Lynch is getting older. They're going to start losing some of the defensive players. They're already having some holdouts. They can't keep everyone. They've kept their quarterback. I think they're going to keep Sherman, and they're probably going to keep Earl Thomas. But to keep everyone's not going to happen. So I'm going to say that the Seahawks are going to take a step back. They're going to be mortal. The past. First of all, to ask them to go to 3 straight Super Bowls is insane. But I'm talking step back to the point where like a 10-11 wins, something like that. Not as great, because people are expect them to be 14-win teams. I don't think they're going to be around that. I think they're going to take a step back. They play in such a tough division. The division's getting better and better. The Seahawks take a step back. Number 7, Peyton Manning will retire. Boom. Bubble burst city right there, son. Peyton Manning will retire after this year. I don't know when he's going to announce it. My man cannot feel his fingers. He has to wear a glove because he can't feel his fingers. You think he's going to keep playing? Denver's only going to get worse. I think he's hanging around hoping he can win. At some point, if they lose a few games, I think he's going to say, this is my last hurrah. If they make it to the playoffs, he'll say before the playoffs, this is my last hurrah, Ray Lewis style. This is it for Peyton Manning. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. But he's done. And I like Peyton, but everyone has to have their time. My man can't he can't finger paint. Finger painting has become impossible. You know how hard it is to play Scrabble or something? He can't even pick up pieces. He can't feel his fingers. 8, Andrew Luck's MVP. I don't necessarily think he's the best player in the league. They're going to put up St. Louis Rams stats. They're going to put up stats like you ain't never seen before. He could throw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns easy. That team is going to score some points. Take the overs. Number 9, TJ Yeldon will be the Rookie of the Year. Over in Jacksonville, he's going to help out Blake Bortles a lot. That's a good team too. They had the pieces. If it's a shame if Justin Blackman would have worked out the wide receiver, and if he was like Dez Bryant, if they would have Yeldon, Dez Bryant, and Bortles, then Jacksonville could really be on the turnaround. And number 10, the Cardinals, sneaky team. I didn't have them going into the NFC Championship game. I almost did, though. Carson Palmer, if Andre Ellington can stay healthy at running back, Larry Fitzgerald, they got some good young receivers. Their secondary is the best in the league. Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, those players. Bruce Arians, favorite coach in the league by far. He is my favorite coach in the league. It's not even close. I think he could be one of those guru guys that just wins. And Carson Palmer is a quarterback that you can win with. I'd rather have, not in Chip Kelly's offense, but I'd rather have Carson Palmer than Sam Bradford. So that is my bold predictions. I am going to end the show with my picks. This is how we're going to do the NFL betting. I'm going to do it just how I do it in real life. I'm going to let you catch a glimpse into my life. This is going to make me sound like a real degenerate here because all my shows talk about gambling. But this is exactly how I bet on NFL football. And we are going a little long here, but hey, it's the NFL preview show, baby. This is exactly how I bet. I bet 2 games, the 2 morning games, right? I bet 2 morning games because there's a big slate. That's the most games you have. So I pick 2 of them. And then I pick 1 of the afternoon games. Because afternoon games aren't always good. You only usually get 1 on TV unless you have the DirecTV package. So NFL ticket. So I usually do 2 in the morning, 1 in the evening. I always bet on the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. All right. So that's 5 picks. 5 picks. Well, this week will actually be 6 picks because there's 2 Monday night games. But it's always going to be the exact same thing. I'm always going to give you 2 mornings, 1 afternoon, Sunday night, Monday night. Okay? So here we go. In the morning, my 2 picks, Kansas City -1 at Houston and Miami -4 at Washington. Washington is so bad. And I think Kansas City could be sneaky. They could be sneaky good. Alex Smith's good enough of a quarterback to deal with Houston's pass rush. And I think with Jeremy Maclin and some other players, they could keep it close. And I think Kansas City could even win because Houston's quarterback problem is so bad. So bad. Miami going to thrash Washington. Love that pick. Miami -4. Love it. In the afternoon, I'm going Baltimore -4.5 at Denver. Baltimore is just a way better team. And I think you're going to see the real rapid decline of Denver when they go up against Baltimore. Baltimore is going to be one of those teams where they challenge for the AFC title. They're going to challenge right there. I don't think Denver's even close. Being on the road helps a little bit, but being the first game of the season, Baltimore is completely healthy, completely rested. The home and away doesn't matter as much to me as it would later in the season, so I'm going Baltimore in that game. Sunday night, Dallas and New York. I'm taking Dallas -6. Do not think New York's good. They have great receivers. That's it. Dallas has kind of figured out their mojo. Tony Romo is not expected to throw the ball as much. Darren McFadden will be healthy for this game. All their running backs will be healthy. So they can get back to what they do best. And I think that if they can control those wide receivers, then Dallas will win -6. That's a big spread, but I'll go Dallas -6. Sunday night, that's Sunday night. Monday night, 2 games. First one, I've got Philly -3 against Atlanta. Philly's going to score points. Atlanta has the tools to score points, but I don't know if they're ready at that pace yet. Atlanta's going to be better than they were last year. I don't expect them to be up to Philly yet. Maybe later in the season they could show some growth like that, but I'm going to take Philly -3. Don't mug me off, Bradford. Don't mug me off. Last final bet, Minnesota at Frisco. Over-under here. I'm going to under of 41.5. Minnesota will run the football. A lot. Okay, Adrian Peterson's going to carry that load, which makes for low totals. And Frisco's terrible. They might not even score. Frisco's going to play in a lot of 16-13 games. 16-10, 13-9, games like that. They were doing that whenever they had Harborough and their full team. Their offense was terrible. But now they got like a defensive line coach trying to coach Kaepernick, a guy who needs to be coached. And they're going to rely – that's going to be a in the trenches game. I could definitely see 13-9, 13-6. The idea, 41 points, that's 24-21. That's not going to happen. So I'm going to say I'm going to take under a 41.5. Those are my picks. I gave you 6. All right, I gave you 6. If you listen to my other shows, I gave you picks for college. Follow my Twitter and all this down here. That's where I post more stuff if something randomly happens. Like, oh, I like this line, boom, and we can do this together. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about what I said. Who are your picks? Where did I get it wrong? Let me know. This is a full conversation between me and you, so make sure to voice your opinion. Guys, this has been Out of Bounds. I really appreciate listening. I really appreciate all the support, all the love I'm getting from, just all this content we're pumping out. I really do appreciate it. I'm giving you the content you deserve because the people that are in the positions to give you the content are not doing it. So I've created my own platform, and we're pumping out content better, faster, everything than what you were getting. Again, I am your host, James Skrmetta, and this has been another successful episode of Out of Bounds. Enjoy the season, enjoy the football, enjoy the NFL. Have a good time, guys.